House in the basement, one drain, 3 mics. Street dad just navigated life. Follow and subscribe and come chill and vibe, man. Now get ready, cause the basement is live.
So welcome back to the basement. We got a special edition, little interview, little collab today with Fresh Off the Clock. We're looking forward to actually working. There you go. Looking forward to working together. How you doing today, buddy?
Hey, y'all, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I had to walk down the steps, and now we're in the basement. What's going on, fellas?
There you go, man. There you go. Hey, first things first, I want to shout out the Mountain View shirt there because I did have a kid that actually me and Hunter both had a kid. Mountain View didn't have a little league team this year. So he came up to Montcalm and drove an hour every single day to play for me. And yeah, he played all. He never missed a practice, never missed a game.
No,
it was blistering
dedicated.
cold. Yeah, blistering cold in the fall, and he was like, "I'm coming." So, buddy, they don't make kids like that. So, Mountain View kind of gained a little bit of my respect right there.
I mean, I feel like Mountain View's a lot like us, man. You get overlooked, underprivileged communities. So I mean, I have a lot of love for Mountain View, dude.
I mean, I graduated from
Hey,
Mountain View, so I definitely got some love for it.
Shout out to the mountain. Y'all hear him, bro, up on the mountain. You already know what's going on up there, fellas. You graduated from Mountain View, what class?
14.
14? You may know my sister, Montana Minko.
I think she was older than me, wasn't she?
Yep, she was class of 2013.
I think I knew of her, but didn't really know her.
Sorry that I'm doing this on camera, but what's your full name? I probably know somebody. I guarantee we know everybody, right?
I don't know because I only went there for my junior and senior year, so I didn't.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but my name's Hunter McDaniel.
Hunter McDaniel. Not that many McDaniels down the road, to be honest with you.
He was kind of a
Fair
nerd.
enough. Hey, dude, I got Funko Pops sitting right here, bro. Listen, I'm right there with you, fellas, for real,
There you go. See, I would assume that. How many people do you have in your graduating class?
I think we finished with 75 that actually walked.
75. What about you? How many do you have?
92. But there was at least 10 to 15. There's always, well, I say there's always, but as in like a fellow Mount Viewing right there, there's always the group of kids that no one's ever seen. They were either doing homeschool or something else that show up to the graduation that just no one knows who even they are. And we had about 15 of them, I swear to you. Everybody that I went to school with, I know their moms, dads, brothers, sisters, their aunties, uncles, cousins. Those cats, I couldn't tell you what color hair they had, and I'm being serious.
We'll see you down a little bit down the road here at Montcalm. Me and Drew here graduated in 2007 to what, 32 people?
32. That's dude. I was 7 when that happened. It's crazy.
Man, come on.
32 people. I think our cookouts hold more people than that.
All right.
We would every time we go to talk about football, when I'm coaching these kids, like, what position did you play? I'm like, son, let me tell you a story real quick about Montcalm. I played every position that the coach told me to. I said, you see that sideline? I don't know what that looked like because I was on the field the whole time.
You played all 5 phases, and there's only 4 phases,
Right?
With 3 phases. I'm crazy. What? But yeah.
So to go off of that, of course, I was a lineman. You were a lineman. You played college ball too, right?
A little bit of Concord ball, and then I tore my ACL, PCL, MCL, and my meniscus in one clean sweep. I dropped out, and then I went back to Bluefield State, dropped out again, and then I went to University of South Carolina Sumter, dropped out again, and here I am on Fresh Off the Clock. A lot of debt come with that one.
Buddy, we're very similar.
Yeah.
I went to Bluefield State twice, dropped out twice, went to Liberty. I said, well, this is too hard for me. Transferred to Southern New Hampshire, and I finally graduated. But it took a long time. It took a long time. And a lot of money.
There's something about college dropouts and sports podcasts go hand in hand, man. You can't
There you
beat
go.
it for real.
Yeah.
There you go.
So leading into that, then tell us a little bit how you got started in this.
Oh, dude, I don't know if we have enough time on the clock for this one. So basically, as I did reference, dropped out of college, I got into car sales.
Uh-huh.
I sold cars my entire adult life. Don't do it, man. It's a stressful one. Let me tell you, my hairline's already being pushed back. But
I feel you.
right. And I got up at I went from Bill Cole, which is in Green Valley. Shout out to Bill Cole Auto Mall. They're our main sponsor for the West Virginia side, you know. And
Yeah.
I went over to Cole Chevrolet and I met my dog, my compadre, my co-host, Cody Hatfield.
Mhm.
And little quick side note. So I walk in for the interview. Never met Cody a day before in my life. He's wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers throw. Obviously, I got my Eagle stuff behind me, and I just tell him like, "Hey, man, you got some trash right there," and I just walk off, you know. And at that point, I did end up getting the job, and we used to be up front, and we would always say that we were like Shannon and Skip, man. We would be up there just arguing about sports. And so then we tried it. We actually took a picture and we called it Fresh Off the Lot. And like I done the little Photoshop, I made like a album cover, and that was the joke. And then we was like, bro, that would be a fire podcast name. So
Right.
then we get a set of keys, we go outside, we sit in a used Durango, and we go live off of my personal Facebook page. Well, the manager cut that quick. He was like, "Y'all are here to work. You're not going to be having a sports podcast outside while you're on the clock, you know." Um, so then I would just go to Cody's house, and we done it, which was brutal, man. We were doing this like 3 to 4 times a week.
Right.
It was a strictly live thing. Me and Cody probably ran like 4 episodes off of my personal Facebook. It went pretty well. We got like 1,000 views on them, which at the time I was like, "Hey,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
retiring tomorrow," you know. Um, and then we actually kind of committed to it. Cody had at the time he had this nice empty attic. We had this friend named Charlie who was like, I guess he was a carpenter, man could build anything, and we got like the big pieces of plywood and everything, and we built a set in Cody's attic. And at that point, we done fresh off the clock for probably six months ish. We got up to 1,600 followers, but at that time, it was a little bit more of we would be on there maybe cussing, and it was a little bit more gag. At that time, our inspiration was more or less like a barstool type of feel.
Right.
At that
Right.
point, though, I was only 20 years old. And we done well. We done our biggest thing. Like we barely done any more. Let's say the local stuff. It was more like just professional sports.
Mhm.
Um, and then we done food reviews, and that was fire. It got to the point to where like all of the local restaurants, if we called them, was like, "Hey, this is fresh off the clock." They'd be like, "Oh, we've been waiting for y'all to call us," and they'll just give us food. We would go live every Friday, and then it got to the point to where some places would have us come into their restaurant and do it.
That's
Was super
awesome.
cool. So we would sit there, get free food, and just talk about sports. And some of those, like those were the highest viewed ones every single time. And then after 6 months, I was obviously in Southern West Virginia,
Mhm.
which is obviously love it to death. It wasn't the place for me to be. So my dad's from New Jersey. I moved to New Jersey, and we tried to do it remote, flunked. Right, a whole attraction of us was going live, all of us in the same room, kind of like y'all are. We had a big
Mhm.
table,
Mhm.
and it was super cool. At that point, once the number started to dwindle after the first month of me being in Jersey, we was like, "Hey, I'm up here to do something else. Let's just cut it. Say that we done it. Hey, it was cool for the 6 months that we done it, you know."
Right.
And then fast forward 4 years later, I moved to South Carolina, and I'm just on the phone with Cody, and we're just kind of like, should we bring it back? You know, like we just have this Facebook page with like 1,600 followers just sitting there doing nothing, just gathering dust. Post hadn't been made in years. And so he was like, let's do it. And my whole thing was because I didn't want to try it and it flopped. And then I
Right.
just looked a little bit crazy. So I done a poll up on Facebook because a lot of people, when I would go home and because after I moved to Jersey, I went to South Carolina, and that was trying to. I've been away from home for like 5, 6 years now. And at that point, I done a poll on Facebook, and I was like, basically, if this post is over 50 likes, I'll bring Fresh Off the Clock back. And it got like 56 likes or something. So I was like, why not?
There you
And
go.
we tore everything down, and we rebuilt it. We kind of rebranded. Now this is more of a respectable brand that like actually does some good for the entire community. And my offensive line coach when I was at Concord, Coach Kyle Jolly, he was on the 2010 Steelers team that went to the AFC Championship. And he played at UNC. He was a two-time all ACC tackle. He has some great stories. I brought him on for the first episode, we didn't know if we wanted to make it a pro sports or a college sports thing, but we were gonna maybe like teeter both of them, And we get him on. It does pretty well. So at this point, I just started shooting my shot. I DM at least, and I'm not lying to you, like 200 like C-tier NFL guys, right? Like not the Pro Bowlers and the All Pros, but my focus was people that I can remember played for the Eagles when I was a kid.
There you go.
Then I just kind of stemmed off of that, and I would text it was just copy and paste, and I was like, hey, I have this podcast. We're not big. I can pay you $200. Give me 30 minutes. One person out of hundreds responded, and it was B.J. Cunningham, who he's the all-time leading receiver for Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that, and that done pretty well. When we made that announcement, people was like the real college football heads was like, oh, B.J. Cunningham, all right, cool. Like that guy played with Kirk Cousins, Le'Veon Bell, was on some very good Michigan State teams, and at that point, I mean, the dude was an animal. So then it cost me $200 again. He, great guy, right? But he would charge me for any connection, which, hey, you built your name, you built your brand, whatever, right? He got me in touch with Eddie Whitley, which was a safety for Virginia Tech. And then he got me in touch with Marvin McNutt, which I don't know if y'all recall, but back in the day, he's the all-time leading receiver for Iowa. And we brought him on, and it done very, very, very well. So at that point, we was trying to like, all right, we might have found something. Then scrap it all, boom. We bring a local high school football coach on. It might have been Coach Taylor at Princeton, might have been the first, or I don't know which local head coach I brought on first, but it blew up. We made a couple of posts about some local high school sports, and then now we're chasing 20,000 followers, and this is it.
Awesome. That's awesome. One big thing is, I'm a Montcalm guy. I don't know if he's the TV Montcalm guy. He's a Montcalm guy. When you started shining that light on Coach Adam Havens, that's a teammate of mine. We were teammates all the way back to Brush Fork Bingle days. So we grew up on the fields together. My dad grew up with his dad on the court together. So when you started covering Montcalm sports, that's when I was like, I really like you. Like you was covering main sports, but at the same time you was shedding light on the smaller schools, getting that out there.
Yeah.
And like we was talking off the camera earlier, a little bit about us. Like we tossed this idea around a lot about doing the podcast, and we was like, I don't know, man, I don't know. And then I started watching. I found you, or Fresh Off the Clock. I don't remember how we found it, but we sent it back and forth to each other, episodes and stuff. And then I messaged you one day. I was like, hey, what about Little League? And you was like, absolutely, send me something.
Let's do it,
Yeah. Sent my son's video over there of him running, playing quarterback sneak, and that video took off. And I'm like, you know what? That's what this area needs. We need more light shined on these smaller programs, these smaller schools, these smaller little leagues. And so that's kind of like what you was like. Fresh Off the Clock was a huge inspiration for us.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But back to what you said earlier, like when you first started, it was more of like a crude approach. We're this video will probably be the 200th YouTube video that we have.
Yeah.
And if you watch our first 2 episodes, I am not proud of those.
Dude, for real. Listen, because as grown men in sports, it's so easy to get on here and maybe talk some smack, or anything. Or, no. And it's such a thing naturally, especially being in like southern West Virginia, where the language is a little bit more naturally, aggressive, and but it's not deemed as like being offensive by any means. It's just kind of how you talk to your boys,
Yeah.
Right? We're a little different around this area. We like our love language is just trash talking each other.
For real.
And then whenever they go to walk away, you know what? That's a good dude right there.
So, what do you think your highlight has been with Fresh to the Clock? What's your favorite highlight so far?
Before I move off of it, shout out to my dog Adam Havens, bro. Love that dude.
He is
Coach
the man.
Havens, that's the guy for real, man. We actually had him coach, so we were able, and this is one of the highlights, so it does tie in perfectly. We were able to throw, which I mean, to my knowledge, the first one in a long time, a West Virginia versus Virginia All-Star Senior High School basketball game, which was super cool.
Awesome.
And we had Coach Haven coach the West Virginia boys, because that's when Montcalm went on that run. And I was like, listen, if I can get someone involved, bring me Havens and bring me Tristan Klein, and we ride. There you go.
There you go.
Mid fourth quarter, Coach Havens turns around, laughs, and goes, I don't know what to do because I've never had so much talent. And he just starts laughing, But the All-Star game was big. I'm a big emotional guy, and into my adult life, I've really leaned into my faith, and so I've been extremely blessed, man, to be honest with you, to do the stuff that we've been able to do for real, like without God, man. Just listen, there's Fred Minko has like a little bit of a name that I've been working to bury, and the Lord has just blessed me tremendously, honestly. We've done the basketball game. I guess I'll do a little plug here. We are 14 days away from the second annual Fresh Off the Clock 7-on-7, and then we're having the Kelvin DuBois Memorial Bidman Camp. Long Live Blacktop, for real. That was my guy. And that'll be at Oak Hill. That's always cool doing those camps, man. Last year was amazing. We had Princeton, Honaker, Mount View, Riverview. The competition was great. I'm really looking forward to, this year's we have more teams in it. We got Montcalm pulling up on us. Can't wait,
There you go.
And Jalen Younger was kind of a bit of a darling, bro. Listen, I respect that kid for real. Yeah. And I don't know if I should put this out here by any means, but I am. Bro, this kid, listen, I respect the Kobe Bryant mindset. He would see he would text Fresh Off the Clock and say, that kid shouldn't have won Player of the Week over me. And I was like, honestly, bro, I respect it.
I love it. That's the general in him right there.
Honestly, bro. When he done that, I told Cody, and excuse my language, and it ain't nothing crazy, but I told Cody, I respect the hell out of that kid for real, man. Honestly,
Yeah. Hey, Jay's a good kid.
And something early that we done, which was insane, dude. Listen, in this like I've said, I've gotten real bit into my faith. I feel like my entire life has led to me doing Fresh off the clock, and I believe that wholesomely. I have a very much natural stutter. I've had it since I was a kid. I sold cars for years. And that kind of taught me how, because I've sold some cars to some people that were higher up places and whatnot. You got to kind of talk to, a little bit different. Oh, yeah. We were able to actually, and it was by sheer coincidence, interview the founder of ESPN, Bill Rasmussen.
I remember
that guy's worth $500 million. Like, that one's big. And we actually still talk to him pretty often. But it's just more of a, hey, Bill, how are you doing? Because he after that, he enjoyed it. He called us like a week later, was like, that's the first interview I've had in years where I didn't feel like I was just a suit and tie, you know? So he told us that it's an open line. If you ever want to call and just talk sports, call him. So we do, you know, why not? That's such a cool connection to have, you know?
Oh, for sure.
But
Doing
that
that.
compliment of not that the first, that was a huge compliment right
Oh, yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Like from a
What'd
guy
you
like,
say? Sorry.
I said that compliment of him saying that that's the first time he didn't feel like a suit and tie. That speaks volumes for the type of
Dude,
people you guys are.
huge.
Yeah.
For real, man. And when I tell you, me and Cody, we treated that like that was the one that was going to change our lives for real. And I don't know if Cody wants me to put this stuff out here, man. To be honest with you, but I don't mind it because it's already passed and it didn't quite happen. Dude, after that interview, I thought it was going to get hairy. So Bill
Right.
told us that he was wanting to like bring us down to him and meet him. Like, dude, he loved us for real, which we interviewed him for a whole hour. And then he did mention that he would like to bring us to ESPN's birthday party with him that September in Connecticut. And then we called back 2 months later. He didn't even remember who we were, you know, which kind of sucked. Bill's like 93 now and he has Parkinson's. But also something that was big in that interview was we asked him questions on dealing with that and just every, you know, day life. And that kind of like hooked him because, dude, when I tell you, we've read every book he's wrote. Cody done the reading. I watched every single interview that man's ever done to make sure that we did not double up questions for real. And his daughter is a nurse, and she done a health podcast about her dad, and they brought him on. And when I listened to that, and I recalled back to that, you could just see his face change. Right, it was super cool. So like now, whenever we you know call him, he just kind of like almost just it's kind of like being famous or like say where someone asks like that you know they're like, oh yeah, no, John, how are you, you know, which you know that does suck, but we almost like went down there and actually met the man, which would have been surreal. But that was like that night too, man. I cried my eyes out, dude. I told my mom and everything, you know, like that was big, and that's which is crazy. That's not even our most viewed interview. That's like number 3. You Breno Isabel, who was a linebacker for Bluefield, he was the 2000 Gatorade Player of the Year for West Virginia. Is I believe still number 1 for us. And then I believe the first time we had Fred Simon on might be number 2, and both of those got more than the man himself, the founder of ESPN, which is pretty crazy. And then the last one, because I have it here, I was able to interview Sheldon Brown, who was a corner for the Eagles when I was growing up. There's a play of Reggie Bush catching that swing pass, and the helmet gets took off. And he was the one that done it when I was down. I was at a other car dealership at the time. I sold a truck to just this random guy that coaches youth softball, and I told him, you know, we need to talk about sports. I'm like, yeah, big Eagles fan. He's like, dude, I coach with Sheldon Brown. I was like, no way. Don't tell me. And he was able to get me in with that guy too, which was crazy. Dude, my entire life has just been knowing people that know people for real. But I mean, that's kind of when you're in this field, you have to know people to get to places, you know? And I'm still chasing Brian Dawkins, man. On the first episode that we put out, I was like, I'm doing this until I get Brian Dawkins. Sheldon tried to help me out. That didn't go too, you know, well. But I'm gonna do this until I get Brian Dawkins, and at that point, I'll just step away for real.
you done accomplished what you need to accomplish.
Honestly,
on top.
Oh man, absolutely. But I mean, I just really enjoy seeing all the local coverage. Like it's
Much
for me
for that.
Yeah, for me, that just speaks volumes. You like at the same time, listen to all the people you've been able to talk to and have these connections. However, you've not forgot the small town area that made you who you are. I mean, you're still rocking the Mountain View stuff. You know what I mean?
dude, hey, I got to carry with me, man, for real. Listen, I grew up single mom. We had it rough growing up, man. You know, my coaches really know the details of all of that stuff. And like, dude, when I tell you I'm blessed beyond measure, dude, I'm telling you now, life could have played out so many different ways. And just, I've made some very big choices and very big decisions on a whim that if maybe just my shoe would have landed an inch to the right, it wouldn't be the way that it is today, for real. And like that's just so crazy. And I mean, not to get religious on here for real, but like that's so like I know there's a God behind me for real because the
Yeah.
way that everything's played out, man, like it's put me in this chair that I'm sitting in right now for real.
I mean, I'm not gonna speak for anybody else, but you're 100% correct. I mean, without God, pushing you, where would you be? I mean, I work in a field. I can't really say it on here, but I work in a field where I see people that are down and out. I mean, they're on their last leg, and all they really need is just that little bit of inspiration. But we was talking about we was asking you about some of your proudest moments. I think for me personally,
I
mean,
y'all please fill me in because y'all been doing this for a good bit now. So yeah, you probably got some pretty cool ones.
probably, and we've worked with some really big TikTokers and YouTubers. Shout out to Fishing with Tate, Ethan from Hunting Appalachia. They are huge supporters. They share everything we do.
Yep.
They're combined, I think they're over 1.5 million followers. I mean, they're great people. They invite us to Kentucky to do all this stuff all the time. They're even wanting to come here with us and take Hunter fishing because he's never been fishing. You ever met somebody from Mountain View that's never been fishing?
Dude, that's crazy, man.
I told you I was a transplant, though.
My biggest for me is I volunteer a lot at Montcalm Elementary because my little kids go there. And when I walk in, you can hear these little kids whispering, "That's the guy off the basement. That's the guy off the basement."
Yeah.
And dude, that makes me so happy that I'm like, these little kids, like they're looking up to us, they're watching us.
Yeah.
That's
in
my
definitely my
community.
favorite thing, man. This is the kids for sure.
Go ahead.
I mean, we're all youth coaches,
Yeah.
so I mean, I feel like it's a natural thing, but yeah, man, all the kids coming up to you like, "Oh, well, I see you on YouTube or whatever on Facebook," that's really cool.
Man, I love that my son will come up to me and be like, "Daddy, can we watch The Basement?" Like that's what he wants to watch. Like instead of wanting to watch a kid's show or something like that, he's coming up wanting to watch me. So you know what? That's a big highlight for me.
I just finished coaching regular season for Bluefield Little League, coach pitch baseball, and I'm coaching the Bluefield Little League All-Star team starting Monday. We're going into practices and everything. And the last game I gave out 3 game balls. One for a kid that improved tremendously over the season. One kid had 5 RBIs in one game. And then the third kid, he got a double play. An 8-year-old caught a ball and threw a kid out running at the second base. And I gave 3 game balls out. And after the game, as your head coach, I was walking the field, making sure everything was clean, all that stuff. And them kids come up to me and toss their game balls back to me over the fence because they said, "I want your autograph." And I'm like, "Oh, man." I'm like, "Oh, man."
I'm surprised your head can fit in the basement now.
Funny, like I said, Montcalm guy. So our all-star team is going to be wearing, it's Bluefield, so we're wearing maroon and white.
That'll hurt, huh?
I told the president, shout out to Henry Mulkin for bringing back Bluefield Little League and doing what he does. He's made tremendous. But he's like, "You just got to embrace the Bluefield colors because Bluefield's the best." I was like, "All right, I'm done." I said, "I'm done." But man, that's probably been my proudest moment, just seeing little kids. I wasn't even there the other day, and my wife went to the school to do something, and she had little kids coming up to her talking about how they like the basement, they like watching it. So that's what just the kids, man. I love it.
Like, listen, this is the only scenario where a kid can tell a grown woman, "I like the basement," so it's like,
Right?
shout out to the basement. Hey,
Like when you messaged
now
us,
was sorry.
I said when you messaged us a couple weeks ago,
Something like that.
a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago to get together and everything, we was sitting there talking about times. I'm like, "Man, I got a baseball game. And I'm like, we can't let him down."
Yeah, this is
no,
actually
listen,
what I've been
dude.
wanting to do for a while.
Yes. This has definitely been a big
Boy,
target
dude.
for us.
I'm always down to, have fun, man, for real. like I said, I've sold cars for the past 6 years. So all I do is get paid to talk anyways.
Yeah, right.
Now I do want to poke y'all's brain some. What was the moment that y'all kind of decided that you're going to put more time towards it? Like everybody has that crossroads, right? That just is in this field. What was the moment where you kind of decided, hey, I'm going to get some equipment and I'm going to really try to make this something?
Well, we created a group chat on Facebook. Me and Drew had it.
That's how it always starts.
Yeah, and we were talking about it just because I've known this guy
since kindergarten.
Since kindergarten. When I moved here from Texas, this is the first man that talked to me. We got the same first name. We're both Andrews. He was the first man to talk to me, and I walked through the door, and it just clicked. And we always talk about, man, we need to do something. We need to do something. And then where I work, like I said, I can't say, but where I work, I met Hunter there. And me and him, I brought him aboard coaching because I was like, dude, you need to coach football with me. It's so much fun. And he was hesitant, but he joined on, right? I'm talking to Drew. I'm like, Drew, we're after football season, we're doing this. I said, we're doing it. I said, we are doing it. And then he's like, why don't you bring Hunter along? And I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like, we all sit there and talk. I mean, if we would have recorded the content after practice in the parking lot talking, man, we'd probably had a million followers already. But then after that, it was what? 3 months later, we stopped talking about it. And then 3 months later, we was just like, we're recording our first episode this week. And we just said, we're doing it today.
And really, I think the thing that pushed was, kind of like you said, we created a Facebook page, and then all of a sudden we have like 500 followers, and we're like, wait a minute.
You're like,
people may actually be interested in this.
Yeah. And then so we started with some crappy Amazon mics, and the first couple episodes sounded awful. I mean, they sounded awful.
Right.
It was not top level content from the lower level on any level.
But then we decided, you know what? We're gaining the following. People are watching and listening, even though the quality's not great. And so we decided we were going to invest in some of these Rode mics and a little bit better equipment, and we're kind of just rolling from there, man. We grow. We keep Andrew keeps track of our stats every week to see how much we've grown, and so we measure it weekly. And I don't know, it's honestly, man, it's just fun,
Well, we also changed a little bit too. If you follow our YouTube page, it has changed. We started out strictly sports. That's it. Strictly sports. Well, I got to looking at the analytics, and I'm like, guys, 87% of our followers are female. I said, I don't think females want to listen to sports all the time. Like, nothing against them. Maybe they do. I don't know. So we started like asking questions. What do you guys want to hear? And we got on this huge kick. We're like, let's talk about folklore. Everybody wants to talk about Appalachian and West Virginia folklore. So we did. I just
a full mini series.
Yeah, we did a whole mini series on nothing but folklore, and it took off. And then I watch a lot of TikTok stuff. I've watched this guy fishing with Tate down in Kentucky. I watched him when he had 8,000 followers. Now he's over 1 million. Well, there's this guy, Ethan, that works for him, schedules all the hunts and everything. And I'm like, I'm going to message him. So I'm messaging this man. And I was like, y'all want to message him? He said, yeah. So I messaged him and said, hey, I want to bring you on the show. Let's just talk about it. And he immediately messaged me back. He said, absolutely. When you want to do it? And that man, I mean, he has sent, we've interviewed a gamer. He has sent him to us. We interviewed him, and then shout out one of the biggest people that he boosted us huge was, his name's Ghost, but he's actually that's his gaming name. He's from Montcalm. It's George Sparks, and he plays he's YouTube. He has 500,000 followers on YouTube. And I messaged him, and I'm like, why am I nervous, man? I grew up with him. But we messaged him, and then we started working with the Whiskey Blind Band, which is in here in Blue from Montcalm. They're very popular in Southern West Virginia right now. They're going to be popular down your way here soon. It's coming. But I went to school with those guys. Like, we all these small things, like, we're all like doing big things, but we wasn't working together. So now we've made it to the point, like, George, Whiskey Blind Band, and us, we're like, why not promote each other? I said, yeah. I said, why not? I said, why are we not helping each other?
Yeah.
And and it's just been great to see your friends, see them growing, you're growing, and just to see everybody growing. It's just been great.
And I'll say one thing too that I've noticed, and I know that you guys have a few people that work together. I think that having like a few people on it helps a lot too. Because we may have a week where our views and stuff are down. Like this past week, our views were not where we wanted them to be.
Yeah.
Had a
And
rough
it was
week.
almost a little discouraging and stuff. But whenever you have three people, that's three people to help feed. So,
Yeah.
do you guys ever experience that your way?
Oh, dude, all the time, man. Let me tell you, for real. And like I said, a big part of it really is me just leaning into my faith. Dude, I've been punched in the mouth doing fresh off the clock for the past year and a half so much, it's disgusting. I'm surprised I still have teeth, for real. Honestly. Dude, we've had some lows, we've had some really high highs for, a big thing that I had to really swallow because pages always have that initial burst, after our fourth month, it was that December. We had a couple NFL memes blow up on our page, and like all of our numbers are straight order. And I'm not in a position to be funneling money to Facebook to advertise. I'm sorry, I'm just
Yeah, I
not.
heard that.
And we like the page, or I guess the content for the Facebook views had like over like 12 million views, which was crazy. Um, and then like at that point, I just kind of got used to seeing that on like for like 6, 7 months straight, like every 28 days, we were banking like 1,200 followers, 2,000 followers. Well, now it's like our views and our numbers, they haven't slowed down none. But then the just when you're in these small southern towns, there's only so much meat on the bone, like there's only so many people that actively use Facebook that are gonna keep up with sports, and that's where the grind comes in. I really just had to just kind of nut up and accept the grind. Like at this point, I mean, if a post gets 5 to 10 likes, but I can send out 3 invites off of it, and that 2 of them go follow us, I'm pretty happy, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
It's super easy to get discouraged with this stuff. I mean, I've had weeks where we've maybe gained 20 followers. I've had weeks where we've gained 10 followers. Some of it relies on us, and sometimes it's just kind of the way that the ball falls. Luckily with this, I'm playing long ball. I'm pretty confident that in the next 5, 10 years, this should be something that can really do some good, to be honest with you, right? Like,
Absolutely.
dude, I got some very big plans that I would love to see this get to the point to where like it's at like we're doing scholarships and like
Oh
I
yeah.
mean at that point we're already kind of just getting into, which was crazy, like at our at the All-Star game in April, there were like 4 scholarships offered to players after the games. I mean,
Wow.
like we had Bluefield State there, West Virginia Tech, Southwest was there. Virginia Tech pulled up on the scouting. There was a girl
Wow.
from Virginia who I guess has been getting scouted by them, so they pulled up too. So, like, honestly, I don't even really care about the numbers, or I'm trying to tell myself that I don't, so I don't get discouraged or anything. And not like put the numbers out there or anything, but like we still do extremely well. Don't get me wrong, but like at this point, I feel like I'm always chasing some kind of other high. Like I just want to see us like now get into the real life stuff because essentially, the real thing is Facebook's not real. But you got kids running up to you saying to sign this ball. That's real. Like
Exactly.
that's the real stuff. Like now, when I go home and I do to the Walmart, I might see somebody who's like, "Oh, this is fresh off the clock," or something cool. We come in for the Little Tony basketball tournament 2 years ago to like kind of help host that, which was super cool too. And literally, like me and Cody were like walking through a parking lot, and some dude pulls up on a truck, and he's like, "Yo, fresh off the clock!" Like that was super cool to me. Like that stuff is real. Facebook's
Absolutely.
not real. Like YouTube's not real. Numbers aren't real. And obviously, if you can make some money from it, cool, right? But like now, I want to get into the real meat and bones of it, and that's trying to help me. Just trying to, I guess, just trying to really transcend any thought of really what the numbers are. And me and Cody, we've said it since day one. if we do the right things for the right reasons, the right things will come of it. That's just the way that the world works, you know.
Definitely.
Hey,
So if we
you're
just keep
absolutely
our
right.
heads down and just go, bro. Listen, if you can commit yourself a little bit of time for a long amount of time, and if the content really is good, that's the thing, right? It might take you a little bit of time to get started, but the world that we're in,
It
we see
is.
no one as competition, to be honest with you. We try to get everybody involved. Like when we do our awards, we get all of the local media involved with it too, you know. So at that point, when you really just look at it as you're just building a nice big family and you're just having fun with it,
Mhm.
you're gonna have some down days. That's life. So I mean, at that
Yeah.
point, naturally, that would translate straight to a podcast, you know. And obviously, the time of the year determines a lot of stuff too, you know.
It
When it
really
gets warm
does.
out naturally, your numbers are probably gonna dip some, you know. But as people's out on vacation or they're out playing with the kids or at the pool with the beach doing whatever, yeah, or days of the week matter too, big. And Facebook will
Yeah.
feed that to us, bro. Our Mondays historically suck, right? Um, we do nothing on Mondays. Even when we have a good Monday, it's still like, well, that's the first one ever, you know?
Right.
So just kind of just taking it as it comes should help out some for real.
Yeah, absolutely. Another high, I just want to say this real quick, is that when Montcalm went on that run, we decided the Montcalm reached out and they were like, we need money.
Yeah, no, that's how we found y'all.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
they raised enough money to where when they go back upstate again next year, they got tickets already. They got enough money to buy tickets for next year. And it wasn't just us. There was a lot of people around here that shared that post. I think that post ended up getting seen by 39,000 people.
Yeah.
And when we showed up there, we was walking down the steps at Charleston Civic Center, or I guess that's what it's called. But we was walking down there, and Adam was on the court talking to referees and stuff. And he turned around, saw us, and just walked out in the middle of the conversation and come up, met us in the bleachers, and hugged us. And I was like, dude, this is it. This is it.
That's what it's about.
That's
Yeah, definitely.
that right there. That's that real part you're talking about. That's the real, like when that happened, I'm not gonna lie. His dad was my coach.
Yeah.
And his dad was
Legend, by the way, right? I've heard
absolutely.
his dad was like the Nick Saban of the area, right? Like that guy was a legend.
Craig was not only a great coach, he was a great person.
Yeah.
And I had him as a teacher, I had him as a coach, I had him as a friend, I had him as a family friend. And just that part right there, I said this is why we're doing what we're doing right here. That's why we're doing this. And
we kind of experienced a kind of similar thing. I had one of the coaches from Mountain View reach out to me about their track team needing to raise some funds. It was very much last minute. He reached out to see if we could. I'm not in a position to donate however many thousands you need to go up to Charleston, but I can at least put a post up. And then a follower, I guess from Mount View, or had went to Mount View, saw the post and covered the entire tab, right? Paid for everything, one clean sweep. And they were like 2 days away from have everything booked. And that guy went around Mount View singing Fresh Off the Clock's praises. And that's we were able to at least have a helping hand and giving a group of kids an experience that they might have not been able to have if we didn't just put a post up. Like y'all, like the same exact thing. And that post went crazy, right? That stuff the numbers for real, And
it reached a lady from what, Iowa? Was it Iowa?
Yeah, or Nebraska, maybe.
Nebraska, somewhere all the way across the country. And she immediately sent $250 and said, "Thank you for what you're doing." And I'm like, we're not doing nothing. I said, we just shared what they asked us to share. And that's just crazy.
But that's where the good Lord comes into for real, because the Lord will work through people.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
That's true.
Absolutely. But yeah, I definitely appreciate everything that you're doing for this area.
Likewise, man, for real.
We got to see just getting exposed to these athletes around here. Do you know that the confidence, because we coach, I'm on the field, I coach little 5 to 8 year olds. being on the field, just when somebody acknowledges something that good that they do, their confidence. When I showed, Uriah and his little teammates that he was on a Facebook podcast, all them little kids, it changed the season, did it not?
Mm-hmm.
Those kids believed in themselves. They're like, we are real, you know. But that type of stuff, when these kids are seeing their highlights on Facebook shared, it does something to them. Like it gives them so much confidence, and that's just something you can't. I mean, confidence is something that's got to be taught. I mean, and that's the way to do it is just sharing them, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
dude, likewise, for real. Like I said, dude, and what is super nice now is that we have so many people in our area starting up podcasts or just getting into the covering sports and like, because I mean, it's an area that's always had talent, right? I mean, there's always been talent. There's just not been that much exposure into it, you know. So
Right.
now I mean, just these kids. I mean, one time we had a coach on. I won't go into the names and all, but we had a coach on. And I just kind of asked my aunt, like, who are some guys that you expect to be guys for you this year? And he names a kid. The kid's mom reaches out to us. It turns out that her son wasn't even going to play football that following
Right.
year. He heard his name. Kid went straight to the weights. He like
There
it
you
just
go.
flipped. Everything changed for him, And like that's the small stuff that you don't think about or you don't see. And like I'm sure y'all have it too, bro. We receive the sweetest messages, bro, from parents,
Mhm.
or just anytime I see a grandma in the comments, oh, that's my grandbaby. That's the stuff that really matters, honestly.
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely.
the kicker from Graham, Dylan Nash, shout out to him. The dude's a dog, man.
Mhm.
Um, he won our first special teams player of the year award. And from that moment forward, you know how the kids on Twitter, when they go on visits or they get invited to a camp or really anything,
Yeah.
he tagged us in every single tweet, man.
There
And
you
just seeing
go.
stuff like that, dude, you have to love it, man. For real. And now at this point, outside of the players, the parents, dude, I've made friends with so many people that I wouldn't have
Right.
had the chance of even to come across at that point. When we throw camps, it's always the devil trying to get at me, man. Stuff always goes wrong every time,
Right. Right.
People either don't show up or this happens or that happens. And we've had so many parents who just step up and just help us out, man. And like, shout out to Rick DeCibio, Channing's dad from Grant, the person that we was supposed to run the scoreboard for at the game. He ran it for us for the boys game. I offered to pay him. He wouldn't take the money, and he was like, "I'll even do it again next year for you." And like that's the stuff
Absolutely.
that's like real, like
Mm-hmm.
at that point, that's when you're really cultivating something nice and like really just
Right.
kind of doing you a part for real.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely something that we'd love to be involved with is any type of camps. Just even if it's just sharing the message that hey, there's a camp here. There's a camp here. Anytime, send it to us. We'll share it.
Yeah.
We'll share it, get that exposure out, and I'll try to even send kids out that way. Because I mean,
Yeah.
instead of being connected, I've coached in between regular Montcalm and baseball. I was teaching travel football up in Charleston, and the talent level that's across just not only West Virginia, but Washington, D.C., Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky. There's some ballers in this area.
Mm-hmm.
There's some kids. I watched a quarterback. I was 12 years old. He was throwing a slant pass and he probably threw what 15, 16 times and it hit a kid in the chest as he was running full speed every single time. I'm like, that kid right there, he's going somewhere. He is
Oh,
going
kids
somewhere.
from my day, it's completely different. Like from y'all's day too, it's a new world of just sports
Oh,
science and the training and
Mm-hmm.
shout out to all of the youth leagues now. It's super cool to see too, like because that's how you make these powerhouse programs and just areas. Because I mean, there's always a kid going somewhere from this little region, but like now, you definitely see it. There's so many just, or I don't remember the guy's name, but like trying to help him bring the Bluefield Youth League back, and like it's so nice to just see that like now there's cultivation at least up the road. It sucks that down the road lost that. But
yeah.
shout out to that one parent who made sure that their kid was at practice every single day. But that's a big
Oh,
part of it, man, because I interviewed my guy, Coach Thompson, when he was at Parkersburg Catholic. They didn't have a football team, and he was going to be involved in like getting it going. And he said, like, just a lot of those kids, they didn't even play a sport until they got to there. And I mean, at that point, that's how you kind of nip that in the bud. You know, if you really have these kids playing from 5 and 6, by the time they hit high school, they should know what they're doing and at a pretty high level.
You're right. That was a lot of what the problem was with Montcalm for such a long time. We had to play for Brushford.
Yeah.
And once you got old enough, you either went to Bluefield or Montcalm. And I lived down here. He lived down here. So we went to Montcalm, but our team that we grew up with playing for went to Bluefield, and they won 2 or 3 state championships on that same team. So now that we're having that little league system, feeder system, feeding into Montcalm, feeding into the middle school, feeding into the high school, now you're starting to see these 8-2 seasons every year. And that, it starts there, it starts there.
I know, dude, the vibes around Montcalm sports have definitely they've definitely shifted in the past couple of years, man, for real. I'm interested to see who steps up at quarterback next, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm about to
I don't know if y'all have any insider information, but don't tell me nothing, because I'm gonna find out on June 14th at Oak Hill High School, 12 p.m. Free admission. Everybody, bring your family, bring your friends, because that's where a fun time begins, for real, y'all. Honestly, and that kind of leads me into this, man. And a big part of what we do too is, like, I grew up as single mom, didn't have the best situation financially. Going to these camps and everything else, dude, they still expensive,
Yeah, absolutely.
My pride and joy with this whole thing is, dude, I swear to you, until the day I stop breathing, everything that we do is going to be free for everybody. We don't charge kids for jerseys. We don't charge the public for admission. If I'd had to just do some extra work to raise more funds to make sure that not a single person is deterred, and I'm talking even the $2, because, dude, growing up, my friends paid for me to go to every game, right? I'm talking $7. You would think, sometimes $7. Moms just don't have $7 sometimes, for real. So at that point, I want us to be just accessible to everybody. I don't want a single kid to be deterred from coming because it costs money or anything, and at that point, that's allowing kids to get some burn for free. We had a coach last year when we invited him to the 7-on-7. He was like, "How much is it?" And I was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's free." And he was like, "How much does it cost to participate?" Because 7-on-7s are expensive to be a part of. And I was like, "Dude, it's free for y'all too, let's just get something, good going." And then at that point, if you have enough people behind that type of, movement, I've been very much blessed with some, sponsors that would anytime we say that we're going to do something, they want in on, and then at that point, and I'll go ahead and drop it here. This winter, y'all can prepare for the first, and I believe since the 90s, a West Virginia versus Virginia all-star high school football game. It's coming.
Oh, nice. That is awesome.
It's going to be I'm hoping we have it at, the legendary Mitchell Stadium. And that's going to be like, when we started this, we sat down and we wrote like a little 5-year plan, because this is a lot of time.
Yeah.
Y'all understand, man. I'm talking about like hours every single day, a lot of time, from editing to just researching to doing graphics and, and our goal in 5 years was to be able to host that football game. But now we're going to be able to do it on year 2. Yeah. And that's because we're in such a just give the shirt off your back area, man. As long as you have people that just willing to help, you can do anything. And I mean anything. I mean, y'all have been able to connect with some pretty big people, man. Like, like they're us plus y'all times 10, So, and like at that point, they've been able to get y'all in with some pretty big people too. And then at that point, all it takes is one person. And then at that point, y'all are going to call each other, and then you're saying, "Hey, quit your job," or maybe you have some time put in and you want to finish it out, But
I don't know about all that.
One spark, man, can burn the entire thing up, and then hey, you're just coasting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I got one more question before we go. We've had you for a while, and we appreciate you coming on. The Basement Boys get press passes, right? To your event.
Oh, dude. For sure, man. Listen, y'all get me some shirt sizes. I'll be sure you get a nice little camp shirt. That's the coolest part about going to football camps is
boy.
the t-shirts. And let me just say this too. Getting the pictures. Parents would like send us, or like teachers or people that know what we, do. They would send us pictures of kids wearing the camp shirts to school.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
That's fire, bro.
That
That's
is.
it right there, for real.
That's awesome.
I was like, all right, cool, man.
That's awesome. So you said June 14th, Oak Hill High School, 7-on-7. All right.
And the Kelvin Du Bois Memorial Bidman Camp, long live Blacktop, man. That was my guy. Top ran the camp for us last year. Don't worry, y'all. I'm getting some help this year. But yeah, June 14th, there will be a food truck there. I'm still getting that worked out. Typically, culture pulls up, but it is the same weekend as Father's Day. It's the day before. I didn't know that before planning it. But June 14th, 12 p.m., Oak Hill High School, 7-on-7 Bidman Camp. Come out and just have some fun with us. The crowd last year was unreal. I'm expecting more this year. The Liberty Raleigh just punched in with us too. Should be some pretty good competition.
Love it.
We got there's some teams coming that's having a few quarterback battles and stuff, so like I'm excited to watch some good football for real. This is going to be a great time. I'll probably try for this one too. I'm a big trier, man. When that emotion hit me, I'll be honest with you, dude. Like in my head, we still have 2,000 followers,
right?
Like I don't operate like we have, like closing in on 20,000. So like when I'm sitting there and like I'm looking at these, at these crazy numbers, I'm just like, that's crazy, like hey, we're all from the same region. Like when you got a couple commas in that puppy, you're like, whoa, like that's real,
right?
And I mean, I would love to bring y'all on our show too, for real. Like y'all will have a good little, I won't say it's like a little bit of a what's it called, a mission statement, pretty much. Like as long as you just have a good group of people and they're all willing to put in some work and have some fun and you're willing to help people, you should be able to go pretty far with it.
Hey, anytime you want us, you let us know. We'll be there. We will be there June 14th at noon. I will be there as well.
Hey, pull up on us now.
There you go. Now I'm going to have to
June 14th at Oak Hill High School in Oak Hill, West Virginia. June 14th, 12 p.m. Did I mention June 14th at 12 p.m.? June 14th at 12 p.m. For real.
Yeah, and you did say that Montcalm would be there, right?
The one, the only, led by Adam Havens. Shout out to Coach Havens.
Well,
Montcalm will be there.
I know who I'm messaging here in about 15 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Hey, but
yes. Real quick though, that means I need the Blues to pull up for real, man, for real. And while I'm here, bro, shout out to the AI generated Montcalm General. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
Bro, fire. But yeah, y'all, I appreciate it. Y'all, I will sit here and talk on this podcast for 3 hours, and I'm not lying to you, dude. For real. We'll definitely have to do this again.
For sure.
We will get up through text soon and just maybe get something prepared for y'all to come on us too. We're gonna maybe start up a little professional sports thing since like football's starting. All of my team, they have like full-time jobs. They're dads and they have wives and girlfriends and family. I have a girlfriend and a cat, which is my kid, so they're all pretty busy. So it might just be me, but I would love to bring y'all on too, and we can talk whatever. I'm more of a, what am I trying to think of? I guess just like Swiss Army knife. I can get on and really talk about really anything, so we'll get in touch. Fresh off the clock, y'all be sure to go give the basement a good follow, man. These are some good guys just trying to just do their part with what they do have, and that's a great thing going. So y'all, I definitely appreciate it. And the basement fans, go follow Fresh Off the Clock.
Absolutely.
We'll be sharing this. And fellas, I will leave y'all to take it away.
All right, thank you. And again, thank you so much for joining us. But that's always, it's top level content from the lower level. It is the basement.
Yeah. Yo, welcome to the basement. One dream, 3 mics. Street dad just navigated life. Follow and subscribe and come chill and vibe, man. Now get ready, cause the basement is live. I get to